Assalamu alaikum students. This is our 8th lecture of secondary computer science. In our today's video, we will start the next topic, basic structure of C program. And today we will study syntax and preprocessor directives. So let's start with the syntax. Now syntax is a thing which is also used in the context of the natural languages which we speak. And the word syntax means the arrangement of the words and phrases to create the well-formed sentences in a language, like in Urdu, English, Pashto, etc. Means that how we are going to arrange our words. In computer science, the syntax is the set of rules that defines the combination of symbols. Because in the computer language, instead of using the words, we uses the combination of symbols. So syntax defines the rules, and these rules tells us that which combination of symbols are considered to be correct for that language and which combination of symbols are allowed and which are not allowed in that particular computer language. Since we are studying the C language, and we have seen in our previous video that C is a strongly typed syntax-based programming language. This means that if you are going to write a program in C language, then you have to follow the syntax of the C language. You have to follow the set of rules for the combination of symbols which are allowed in C language. Because if there will be any error in your program, then your program will not be executed. This means that if you want to write a program in C language, first you have to learn its syntax. In this video, we will learn the basic syntax of C language. On your screens, you can see the basic syntax of C language. So the first is the line showing #include stdio.h. You have to write it in this line, this piece of code in every program along with the main void, and then you have to put the curly braces. Then comes the body of program or the statements. Now this part of the syntax could vary depending upon the type of program you are writing. And then after writing the instructions in this piece of code, you have to close it using the closing braces. So this is the basic syntax which you have to follow in every program you write. Therefore, it is important to learn this basic syntax. Now we will see the explanation of this basic syntax. What does it mean? Starting with the first line of the syntax is #include stdio.h. So first see the first symbol which you are seeing in this syntax is hash. Now hash tells it that it is the instruction for the compiler. Now as we have seen that C is a high level language and it is a compiler based language. So when we write down a program, then the compiler converts it into the machine language and executes it. So hash is a sign that an instruction for the compiler is coming. And what is the instruction? The instruction is include. Informs the C compiler to include a file in the user program. It tells the compiler that along with the instruction which we are giving, you also have to include a separate file with our program. And what is that file? The file name is written inside the angle brackets. These signs which you are seeing, it is called the angle brackets. And the file name is stdio. Now stdio std stands for standard, I stands for input, and O stands for output. And H means header file. Now this is an external file which is stored on the disk. And we are telling the compiler that along with the instructions which we are giving you to execute, you also have to include this file while you are compiling our program. So the first line is completed. Next is void main void. Now void means that null and nothing. But why we are writing void here? We are writing because here it means that the function is the main. Main is the very important function of this program. The function does not return a value. If void is coming before the main, it shows that this function does not return any value. Then you write down the word main, and main is the compulsory function in the C programs. Okay, it indicates the beginning of C program, and whenever the compiler start executing your program, execution begins, main is the first function to be executed. This is a function which is included in each and every program of C language, and this is the first function to be executed. After main, you can see the second void, which is written inside the parentheses or the round brackets. And this void is showing that the main function does not accept any argument. First was showing that it is not returning, and second is showing that it is not accepting any argument. Okay. After that first line of the main function starts the body of the program or the body of the main function. And it starts with the left brace or the curly braces and the start of the body of the main function it indicates. Then the body of program / statements. In this part, you write down those instructions which you want your computer to execute. For the purpose which you are writing down the program, you will write those instructions in this part. And there could be a single statement or there could be a multiple statements. Okay, there could be only one line or there could be hundreds of lines, it doesn't matter. And after writing down those lines, then you have to put the right brace, and this indicates the end of the body of the function. Here your main function is closed. Now you can see in this part that we have written down the statement 1, statement 2, and there can be multiple statements, statement n. Now as in the English language, we use the full stop to end a sentence. In the C language, we use a semicolon. The semicolon is used as the statement terminator, means that after the each statement, you have to put the semicolon. But there are some exceptions which we will see in the coming lectures. However, it is very important part of the syntax to use the semicolon. So this was the basic syntax which you have to follow in every program of C which you are writing. And the second topic of today's lecture is the preprocessor, or they are also called the compiler directives. As you can see in this diagram, the preprocessor directives or the compiler directives are written before the main function block. And these are the part which are the instructions to the compiler itself. Means that the instructions which we want to execute are written in the main function. But there are some things which we want the compiler to do before executing our instructions. Let's see that these instructions inform the compiler to take the necessary actions before compiling the program. Means that before compiling our instructions, compiler has to take some actions. Therefore, these are called the preprocessor directives or the compiler directives. Now, the sign of the preprocessor directive is that it always starts with the hash symbol. Now, the preprocessor directives are many, but we are discussing only two. That is the hash include and the hash define. Now, the hash shows that it is a preprocessor directive or the compiler directive, means it's an instruction for the compiler. And hash include is used to include the header file in the program. As we have seen, that header file is an external file which is stored on the disk, and because it is added at the top, it is called the header file. And we are including this with our program. We want the compiler to also include these files with our program. Therefore, hash include is used. The second is hash define. The hash define is used to declare a symbolic constant. And these symbolic constants are also called the macros. Now, the thing about hash define is that it could be used anywhere in program. It is not necessary to write it before the main function. Now, the example of the hash define is that you can write hash define x20. This means that x is a symbolic constant. Now x become a symbol which is representing a constant that is 20, and x is called a macro. Now wherever the x comes in the program, it will be equal to 20. So this is the hash define. And this was our topic of the preprocessor directives and compiler directives. So I hope that you have understood it well. This was our lecture today. Thank you for your attention.